I'm Scott Simi, Chief Content Editor with Indro Robotics, and on today's edition of our Soundbite micropodcast, I'm joined by Indro's Stephan Tzolov. Welcome, Stephan.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
All right. So listen, before we get into what you do with Indro, I understand you actually started in a very different direction at university. You wanted to become a doctor and studied biochemistry for a few years. What caused you to pivot?
Honestly, I was in my third year of biochem, already struggling. It was honors biochem, it was tough stuff, and I was staring down the barrel of probably, 7 to 10 more years of education via medical school and residencies and all that kind of stuff. And so I kind of rolled the dice and I pivoted to something that I enjoyed much more.
And that pivot was to industrial
Yes,
design.
yeah.
So what appealed to you about
I
that?
mean, I've always been a creative person, so contrary to medicine, I guess. But it was definitely a passion of mine in my spare time, and I actually didn't even know about the program existing until a close friend in the program, he was in his graduating year at the time, was like, "Hey man, like if you're not liking, the biochem route, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't, cross out university as a thing to pursue regardless. This just wasn't what he wanted to do." And so he kind of brought me about around his faculty at Carleton University, I should say, for the industrial design faculty, which is very small, very niche, and it felt very homey. It was very, creative. It was very free form, if you want to call it that, like a big open space kind of thing. And he kind of just showed me the ropes of what he does day to day, and then especially what the career looks like. And I kind of just immediately, it kind of clicked. I loved it immediately. I could immediately see um, the potential for me.
So give me an overview of what you do at Indro.
I have done a lot of different things, but it has been all been centered around mechanical design, integration, and fabrication. So if something needs to get physically made, I'm usually touching it at some point. And as a robotics company, most things we do is physical. So at some point, I'm kind of getting my hands in there.
I like to think that our products look really good. I'm particularly a fan of our Sentinel inspection robot design. Tell me a bit about the process of designing something that looks good while still accommodating all the internals that are required and ensuring that the form factor fits the use case.
So Sentinel, for example, actually it's a fantastic example because I was able to both lead that project from start to finish, and I think it was executed pretty great by like aesthetic principles at the very end because we got all the sensors on. It looked cool. It looked interesting. Um, and a lot of times with projects as involved as that with so many sensory needs, like we had like I think 8 cameras, a PTZ camera on top for zoom and lidars and all this stuff, right? A lot of times when there's that many requirements and that many sensors, or I should say just off the shelf hardware, it's really hard to be creative. It's really hard to make it look nice. And so thankfully, Indro let me have a bit of freedom with that one, and I was able to look like it ended up looking a bit like a race car. I gave it a bit of a spoiler, and that was and I will say that specific example that is by design. Like the antennas for GPS and location purposes, they have to be a certain distance apart. And usually you'll see robots with these like antennas that have to be like maybe 60 centimeters apart or a meter or whatever. And they just look awkward. And I was like, well, listen, man, we can make it look awkward or we can make it look cool. What's stopping us? So I was really happy with that one.
I also know you're kind of an absolute master at rendering images of potential products, both for the team and for the clients to look at prior to any actual production. How important is that rendering process in creating a new vision for a product?
Honestly, I would say it's the most important when you need buy-in. If it's internal and the team has a lot of faith in myself or the project that's going underway, it's not usually super necessary. You can go with something a little lower fidelity, you know. But for example, if a external client comes in and they're like, "Hey, we have this idea, but we're just not sure about it. Like, we have the technical requirements, but like, what could it look like?" That's usually where I'll step in and kind of I'll 3D model something. I'll get the sensors in there, and I'll make a really nice render to kind of like show them what it could be, kind of get the motor started, so to speak. And visualization for stuff like that is imperative, especially getting buy-in from clients.
And you spend most of your time at Indro
Mhm.
Forge, where fabrication and integration happens. How involved are you on that side?
As much as I can be, as much as anybody in the company, I think. A lot of times, as mentioned, like I'm doing a lot of the 3D modeling. I'm getting involved in mechanical stuff. So if capacity allows it, which it usually does, I'm the one to 3D model it, plan out all the fabrication files, and then hey, if my day's free, I'll just go into the shop, 2 doors down, and start making it. We have water jets, we have CNCs, we have hydraulic presses, there's hand tools also. So I'll just basically take it to its at least prototype or initial fabrication stages, kind of in one process, in one cohesive how do I word this? I'll do it in one fell swoop, let's say.
And we obviously have a real suite of high technology tools at Indro Forge. Is there any one that's your favorite, and if so, why?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it, the water jet machine. It's kind of hard not to love 60,000 psi eviscerating whatever's in front of it. In a very precise way and in a very like ubiquitous, useful way to actually prototype stuff. Uh, it's awesome. I love the water jet machine.
All right. Now, I'm someone who's really never designed anything, but I'm curious, how does it feel to see something emerge from a concept and a render through to a final working product for you?
I mean, I don't want to sound too melodramatic, but it's what I live for, man. Like I pivoted my whole life away from I mean, listen, at 16 it's hard to decide what to do, medicine, all that, but I pivoted away from that well into it because the draw to get an idea out of your head and then see it in reality was just it was the perfect puzzle piece for my career and my personal fulfillment even. So it's the best. I mean, I don't know how to say it. It's hard to describe to someone maybe who doesn't do it as often, but like it is very, very fulfilling.
Now, is there a favorite product that you've worked on with Indro? And if so, what was it and why did it resonate with you?
Um, I'm leading the Sentinel project we mentioned earlier, but honestly, I think it might have been an early project we did for Honda, which had maybe a similar kind of execution and design, but I think I liked it the most, and it was the most memorable to me because it was the first project I was given the reins on by complete chance. Our director now, but at the time project manager Aaron, was going off for his wedding in Jamaica, and he's like, "Hey man, this has to get done, and you're new here, it kind of, so you're gonna get it done." And he kind of just gave me the reins on it, and I was like, "Okay, well, pressure's on, and I get a bit of freedom with this one." And it was very fulfilling because I was pulling on some knowledge from like really weird anecdotal parts of my life. Like I built a PC when I was a teenager. I did certain CAD designs when I was in university, and this, and that. And it kind of all came together. And I happened to need those exact skills because it was basically a gaming computer in a robot. And it was very, very fulfilling seeing these weird, unrelated parts of my life kind of come together and went to one project that actually ended up being a massive success. So when he came back, I don't think he actually expected me to do it, but he got back and it was done. So that was a really fun one. And it looked cool too.
Nice. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. I think I just want to say that it's been a blast chatting, and I love to talk about my passions. So I could do this all day.
Awesome. Stephan Tzolov, thanks so much for joining me today.
No problem. And thanks for having me, man.